Hello, everyone, and welcome to Shaddai English Academy. I'm teacher Orlando, and this is today's lesson about personality. Personality is defined as the characteristic sets of behaviors, cognitions, and emotional patterns that evolve from biological and environmental factors. There are different types of personality traits. I'm going to leave you a link of a video about personalities. So watch it and study it. The psychology of colors. According to research, colors have a powerful effect on people. Experts say red, for example, attracts the most attention. Using red for traffic lights and warning lights makes them more noticeable. Green is the easiest color on the eye, and it causes people to relax. Painting a hospital room green helps patients get the rest they need. Some phrases that you'll see in this lesson are way is used to express a high degree. The car was way too expensive. So expensive. Pull someone's leg to tell someone something that is not true as a way of joking with a person. Stop pulling my leg, you aren't pregnant. To be on the wrong track, to be thinking in the wrong way. If you think my son was involved, you are on the wrong track. To be down, to be depressed. When I'm down, I call my mom to talk with her. The same old grind, depressing, boring routine work. I'm tired of the same old grind. Let's see now some grammar points. Gerunds and infinitives. Gerunds are formed by adding ing to the verb. They have different usage, but here they function as nouns. She enjoys painting. There is something important that you have to know. There are some specific verbs that are followed by gerunds. You will see them in this lesson. And infinitives are formed by adding to the base form of the verb. And there are some specific verbs that are followed by infinitives. He wants to paint the kitchen yellow. And there are many examples you'll see here. However, there are some verbs that can be followed either by gerunds or infinitive. I like swimming. I like to swim. There are more that you see here as well. There are also some expressions, phrases, adjectives, and verbs that are followed by a preposition and a gerund. I'm afraid of flying. No, I'm afraid of flying, right? She's born with cooking. No, she's born with cook, and so on. Okay, now let's listen to some conversations, vocabulary related to this unit. So I hope that you can learn a lot, and see you later.
Read and listen to a couple talking about what color to repaint their living room.
You know what? I'm getting a little tired of looking at this wallpaper.
Well, maybe it's time for a change. What would you think about getting the room painted? I never loved that wallpaper anyway.
Actually, I don't think either of us did. We only got it because we couldn't agree on a paint color.
Oh, yeah. Now I remember. You wanted pink, and I said it was too feminine.
Actually, I never thought it was pink. To me, it was a soft rose.
Well, what would you say to a nice blue?
Blue? Way too masculine.
What?
I'm just pulling your leg, silly. Blue would be great.
This one's nice. Very relaxing.
True, but I'm not sure the furniture would go with it.
Good point. I'd hate to have to get all new stuff. You know, maybe we're on the wrong track.
What do you mean?
All of a sudden, I'm thinking white. It's classic and...
And it goes with everything.
Read and listen.
I decided to repaint the bedroom a happier color.
2,
We plan to see the World Cup finals.
3,
She doesn't like to hear people talking on cell phones.
4,
I know you'd like to choose a more cheerful color.
Now listen again and repeat.
I decided to repaint the bedroom a happier color.
We plan to see the World Cup finals.
She doesn't like to hear people talking on cell phones.
I know you'd like to choose a more cheerful color.
Read and listen to a conversation about likes and dislikes.
So tell me something about yourself.
What would you like to know?
Well, for example, what do you like doing in your free time?
Let's see. Most of all, I enjoy playing tennis. I think it's relaxing. What about you?
Well, I find tennis a little boring, but I do love going to the movies.
So do I. We should go to the movies together sometime then.
Read and listen to someone trying to cheer a friend up.
You look down. What's up? Oh, nothing serious. I'm just tired of the same old grind. But thanks for asking. I know what you mean. I'm tired of working too. How about going to a movie? That always helps me. Great idea. Let's go this afternoon.
Listen and repeat.
Down.
Sad.
Unhappy.
Upset.
Depressed.
Read and listen.
Personality, from nature or nurture. What is personality? Many people define personality as a person's usual manner or style of behavior. These patterns of behavior tend to be predictable throughout a person's lifetime. Some people are introverts, others are extroverts. Some people have easygoing personalities. They are usually cheerful and calm, and able to cope with life's difficulties without much trouble. Their emotions are usually under control. They don't get extremely angry about little things. Others, at the other end of the personality spectrum, are more emotional, experiencing higher highs and lower lows. Most people's personalities, however, don't fall at the extreme ends, but rather fall somewhere in between. Where do we get our personality? For hundreds of years, psychologists and ordinary people have never stopped debating this fascinating question. Some people think personality develops as a result of the environment, the combination of influences that we learn from, such as our families, our culture, our friends, and our education. The people who believe this theory believe that all babies are born without a personality, and that it's the environment that determines or forms each child's personality. This school of thought is called the nurture school. At the other end of the continuum, we find people who believe that personality is determined by nature, or the characteristics we receive or inherit from our parents biologically through their genes. These people believe that our personality is not determined by the environment, but rather by genetics, and that each baby is born with a personality. The nature-nurture controversy. The nature-nurture controversy is very old. Experimental psychologists have tried to discover which of these two factors, genetics or the environment, is more important in forming our personality. However, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to conduct research on real people with real lives. There's just no way to put people in a laboratory and watch them develop. For this reason, there's no scientific way to settle the nature-nurture controversy. Recently, however, most researchers have come to believe that both the environment and the genes, nurture and nature, work together and are both important. Even though the experts have largely discarded the idea that personality development is so black and white, the nature-nurture controversy remains a popular discussion among friends. It seems that everyone has an opinion.
Read the statements. Then listen to all 3 parts of the discussion. Choose the statement that best expresses the main idea of the discussion. Part 1.
Would you like some more dessert?
No, thanks, Linda. Everything was delicious, but I couldn't eat another bite. Thanks so much.
So, Jean, how are your kids doing?
Well, that depends which one.
Well, how about the oldest? That's Brian, right? How old is he now?
He's 15. Brian's fine. Brian's always fine. He's doing great at school. I'm sure he'll get into a great university in a couple of years. He's a great kid, works hard, he plays by the rules, and he's successful at almost everything he does. The only thing that sometimes worries me about Brian is that he can be a little too self-critical.
Self-critical? How so?
Well, Brian can be pretty hard on himself. No matter how well he does at something, he's not satisfied. He always feels he could do better.
That's so interesting. Our first, Eric, is like that too.
Really?
You know, I once read this article in one of those popular psychology magazines. It said that first children are often self-critical because parents push them to succeed more than they do with their other children. I don't mean to suggest you did that, and I don't think we did that with Eric, but it's interesting because it's so common. I just wonder why.
Well, I do think there's some truth to that in our case. Harvey and I were involved in everything Brian did. Music lessons, karate lessons, Chinese class on Saturday. We drove him to all his classes. We picked him up after they were over. We always asked him a lot of questions about how he was doing. He probably thought our message to him was that he had to be good at everything. But we were just interested. We didn't actually push him to be good at everything, but he may have thought we expected a lot of him. Kids internalize those messages.
I imagine that's pretty typical. It's no one's fault.
And one more thing, if you buy into that, nurture theory.
Yeah?
Brian's sister Annie wasn't born till Brian was 8. He really had more contact with us and other adults than he did with someone closer to his age. I'm sure all that contact with us probably had a huge impact. And, interestingly, Brian has always been comfortable with adults.
From what you're saying, it sounds like Brian is the classic first child. They say that first children often feel more comfortable with people older than themselves. They seem to have a short childhood and grow up fast.
Part 2.
So, what about Annie?
Annie's a whole nother story.
How so?
Well, you know what they say about middle children. It's hard for them to feel special. They have no special status. They're not the first and not the baby. They're just in between. Most middle children at least have a little time to be the baby and feel special. But in Annie's case, she never did. Her sister Lucy was born when Annie was really still a baby.
I didn't realize that. How old was Annie when her sister was born?
13 months, just over a year. Annie wasn't even walking or talking yet.
How did Lucy's arrival affect her?
Well, Annie's not an unhappy kid, but she struggles with the things people say middle children usually have a hard time with. Maybe a little more than the typical middle child.
What kinds of things?
Well, Annie's sort of jealous of both her siblings. She's jealous of Brian because we're always saying how great he is. And she's jealous of Lucy because she thinks Lucy gets more attention. Remember, Annie never had a chance to be the baby. We think that's why she's a little bit of a rebel.
Annie's a rebel? She's only 7. How can she be such a rebel?
Well, nothing terrible, but we know that if we're going out, there's going to be an argument with Annie about clothes. I ask her to wear shoes, and she wants to wear sandals. We get dressed up to go to a nice restaurant, and she wants to wear jeans. Sometimes we just give in and let her wear what she wants. We hate to keep fighting with her all the time. This would never happen with Brian.
You know, it sounds like she may be trying to get the attention she thinks the other two are getting.
You may be right, but on the other hand, we don't really worry about her. She's very popular. No one has more friends than Annie. People just love her. She's always been very popular.
You know, that's what they say about middle children. They're usually very popular.
Part 3.
And what about the baby? I guess if Annie's 7, Lucy must be 6?
Right.
Well, you said that Brian and Annie are typical first and middle children. What about Lucy? Is she a typical youngest child?
I guess she is. She's pretty independent. Maybe that's because we didn't have as much time for her as the others. Annie was only 13 months old when Lucy was born, so we were still pretty busy taking care of Annie. We kind of just let Lucy develop on her own, but that definitely had an effect on her personality. Like any kid, she wanted our attention.
What did she do to get it?
Well, she learned how to make us laugh. There's nothing Lucy likes more than clowning around and making people laugh. She's the family clown. Everyone loves her.
Lucy is a lovable kid, very charming. I smile every time I think of her.
Sometimes I worry, though, that she's a little bit of a show-off, but they say that many youngest children like to show off. How better to get attention, right?
Right.
But I have to tell you that doesn't stop her from being a bit of a pain, too. Last week, she decided to paint the dining room walls. Thank goodness she only had washable paint.
Oh, sorry. I shouldn't laugh. Well, they do say the baby is usually the most creative.
Well, that's our Lucy. But seriously, though, she is creative. Piano, children's theater, ballet lessons, all that stuff. She just can't get enough. We just wish she'd grow up a little. It seems like she'll always be the baby. She drives her older brother and sister crazy with all the attention she gets.
Well, they say the youngest child has the longest childhood. It looks like all 3 of your kids are a textbook case on birth order.
You can say that again. Well, I've got to be going. This was really fun. And next time you'll have to have lunch at my place.
I'll take you up on that. I'll give you a call sometime next week, okay?
Listen to the conversations. Then circle a word or phrase to complete each statement. Conversation 1.
You look a little blue, Andy. What's up?
I don't know. Nothing in particular. I'm just feeling bored with my job. Every day it's the same old thing.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thanks.
Conversation 2.
Let's have a party. I'm in the mood to have a lot of people for dinner.
Molly, you never stop. You've got to be the most active person I know.
I just hate sitting around and thinking. I like a lot of action.
Conversation 3.
Let's just stay home tonight. I need some peace and quiet.
Greg, I'm getting sick and tired of staying home. Don't you want to get out and see our friends?
Sometimes, but most nights I'd rather just be with you and read or listen to music.
Conversation 4.
So, Millie, where do you stand on the nature-nurture controversy?
Me? I guess I think the family is the most important factor. A happy early childhood makes a person cheerful for life.
Conversation 5.
So, Vera, what do you think is the best way to make your children have cheerful personalities?
Are you kidding? People are born either happy or sad. The parents have nothing to do with it. Once you're born, it's too late.